Welcome to AFL Access's 2019 club season previews, where Ryan and I will look at the multiple facets of all 18 teams heading into the 2019 season and have a bit of a guess where they'll end up by the end of the season. I'm Joel, and today we'll be looking at the Carlton Blues. After a year to forget for the Blues, it certainly has been a preseason to remember in both the good and the inconceivably bad ways. But before we get to that, let's take a quick look at the player movements for the Blue Baggers in the off-season. A big get straight off the bat for the Blues was Mitch McGovern, who was traded for pick 13 and Shane McAdam to the Crows. This will hopefully be able to take a lot of pressure off of still developing forwards Charlie Curnow and Harry McKay, while also providing more scoring opportunities for the Blues. In what has become pretty much a yearly tradition, Carlton traded away pick 43 to recruit Will Setterfield from the Giants, joining likes of Lockie Plowman, Andrew Phillips, Matthew Kennedy, Caleb Marchbank, and many others I can't think of at this moment. Also, in the waning hours of the trade period, Carlton flipped a pick to Sydney for Nick Newman, and also picked up unrestricted free agent Alex Fasolo, who should also help that developing forward line. Wait, no, he's injured for the next month or so. So yeah, big get. Now to the actual draft night, which was pretty interesting for the Blues, as some of their decisions might have some interesting future consequences on their 2020 seasons if they don't play their cards right. With the first overall pick, Carlton predictably selected Sam Walsh from the Geelong Falcons, and later in the night, swapping their 2019 first-round pick to the Crows for their second first-round pick, which was pick 19 for Liam Stocker. With their last two picks in the draft, they selected Finbar O'Dwyer and SSO, or second son of Serge, Ben Silvani in the 4th and 5th round respectively. In the rookie draft, they picked up Hugh Goddard from the Saints and Thomas Bugg from the Demons, who retired as of the 1st of February. Okay then, that was pointless. On the way out were 12 players. Wait, no, 13 now. 5 of who have retired and 8 being delisted. Alex Silvani, Matthew Wright, Kieran Byrne, Killian McDavid were the 4 players who retired along with the aforementioned Bug. The other 8 players, I'm just going to show on the screen, there are too many to go through. So the preseason for the Blues has been pretty brutal, with a lot of injuries, potentially costly trades, and Thomas Bug retiring before even training with the Blues are major points of focus. In a cruel blow to the Carlton Blues, the star halfback and now co-captain Sam Docherty has torn his ACL for a second time in 2 years in the same knee. This is already going to be a difficult season for Carlton, with a lot of young players being given major game time and not as much experience on-field leaderships as other teams. Mitch McGovern also injured his back and was out for a month, disrupting his preseason, which does not instill confidence that their new acquisition will be playing round 1. On the trade front, like I said, Carlton gave up their first round pick for 2019 for Adelaide's pick 19 in the 2018 draft, which could be very costly as the run of injuries and the reliance on the youth to carry teams means they could very much have given up a first overall pick for next year's draft. Now, that being said, I don't really want to see Carlton in the basement, but this year, like the past couple of years, is going to be a baptism of fire for the youth and a larger burden placed on their most experienced players. It's going to be a difficult year for the Blues and may potentially come with many hard losses, and honestly, I feel they expect that. Well, getting games into the youth is obviously number one priority, as a lot of their older players are reaching the end of their careers and are a bit too injury prone to continue playing. Sam Walsh is going to be on a hot seat alongside Paddy Cripps, who are going to get a lot of attention from other teams' taggers, but hopefully alongside Mark Murphy and Davey C. Thomas, they could be some support for them. Another goal would be to continue the development of Harry McKay and Charlie Curnow as they push into a high gear for the Carlton forward line. Oh yeah, and score over 100 points at some point in the season. Even if it's in a losing effort, it'd be good either way to get the monkey off their back. I would also try and start looking at another player to fill the role of Sam Docherty while he is out injured, and provide support for Cade Simpson in the twilight of his career. Matthew Cruiser will need to play probably all 22 games in this season to give the Blues the best chance to win a few matches, as Cruiser is still a great tap ruckman, and getting it down to Walsh and Cripps will always help. To be honest, this season for the Blues is going to be particularly rough on the youth, and like I've said a couple seconds before, which makes me question why I wrote it again, it's going to be a baptism of fire. So the defense for the Blues is going to be under fire for a majority of the season, and will have to try and stop waves and waves of forward pressure coming their way. Jacob Wiedering, the 2015 number 1 pick, will, in my opinion, have to anchor the fullback position for most of the season, and not be bounced around to different spots as he has been in the past couple seasons. Liam Jones and Caleb Marchbank are also going to be the back pockets to try and take the other key forwards on the opposing team. Now, I'm not really bullish on Liam Jones since he can have some tolerable games and impact on his opponents, but then he completely self-immolates. See the round 23 match against the Swans from a couple of years ago. Now, new recruit Hugh Goddard could also take the spot in the back half to fill the void left by Docherty this season. However, it may be risky as he has had little experience due to numerous injuries. Lachie Plowman will likely play halfback/key defender role, which he has been doing since he came over from the Giants. Cade Simpson, the stalwart he is in the defence, will pretty much be the run and carry out of the back half. But how much longer will he be able to keep it up, even after 300 games for the Blues? We don't know. Daisy Thomas will also look to be a hand-down back. Well, when he's in form, otherwise he may be dropped for a younger player, get their shot at the big time. The midfield should be a bright spot for the Blues, with some emerging talents and established players getting the spotlight for a majority of the year. I don't think there's much to say about players like Cripps and Mark Murphy, who have been the heart and soul of the team for the past couple of years, and will try their damnedest to drag their team over the line in many of the games. Both of their first-round picks from 2017, Lockie O'Brien and Paddy Dow, like in the 2018 season, will get a lot of game time around the ground, further developing the chemistry with the rest of the midfield. New acquisition from the Giants, Will Satterfield, should also be in the mix for a spot round 1, and add another element to the Blues' more youthful midfield. Ed Curnow will also play a big role in the team after another strong 2018 season, and should a more experienced hand to guide the younger midfielders around the ground. Fringe midfielders like David Cunningham and Harrison McCready may get a look in at various points in the season, but I doubt it will be early on in the season, especially round 1. The ruck stocks for the Blues are looking semi-decent, with Matthew Cruiser being the main focal point, and will, if he is healthy, start round 1. Backups in case of emergency will include Matthew Lobe, Andrew Phillips, and the young Tom De Koning. Out of those three, I'll hedge my bets that Lobe will be the number 2 starting ruckman for the Blues for most of the season, and probably Phillips and maybe De Koning if all else fails. With scoring issues being one major area that the Blues have been known for in the past couple of years, will be under major scrutiny for the season. Although, with the up-and-coming midfield, it might not be all doom and gloom for Carlton. Acquired from the Crows is Mitch McGovern, who is an expert at plucking big pack marks, but his kicking can be a bit off, and with the injury setback sustained in the preseason, he may not be as potent at the start of the year. McGovern will also play a dual role to help support the younger players and pick up the slack for them and create a reliable marking option. Charlie Curnow and Harry McKay will be young guns taking up stock as the homegrown forward options for the future. Curnow had a fantastic 2018 season, but there should be some pressure taken off him with others in the forward half. McKay will also be expected to step up with more goals and to contribute further in the team and show his improvement in the overall game. Levi Casbolt will most likely take the spot of Alex Fasolo as he's out with a broken arm and probably won't be around for round 1. Even though Casbolt is a bit shaking with his goal kicking, seriously, it can be atrocious at times. His marking ability can be an asset for a developing forward line. With Fasolo out, I really think Casbolt will definitely need to get his kicking boots on point to save a spot in the side. Sam Petrevski-Seton I can see playing on the half-forward line as either a spare midfield or another small forward that can skim the pack and kick goals. Other players such as Jared Pickett and Jared Garlett could also play small forward roles, with crumbing and roving the packs to get the goals flowing for the Blue Baggers. I think the round 1 team will look something like this. Where I think the Blues will finish at the end of the season will be, honestly, and I don't want to really rag on them too much, is 18th position. Sure, it's pretty predictable and heaps of people will be saying that, but that being said, I think they really struggle without Doherty, and it's gonna be a tough road for them. Think that's a fair assessment? Is it all doom and gloom for the Blues this year yet again? Tell me in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video. Also subscribe and ring the bell to stay notified of all new content. You'll next see me discussing one of Carlton's biggest rivals, the Bombers, and Ryan will be discussing the Pies next, another one of Carlton's greatest rivals. This has been your AFL Access.